What's up, guys? Andrew here with New Gamer Nation. I'm with Tim and Jay from High Horse Entertainment. We just got to play Disc Jam, and let me tell you what, it is the future of esports. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great. How are you?
Doing all right? I'm doing well. So we got Disc Jam. It's like Windjammers meets like something else. Let's talk about a little about the game.
Yeah, so it's like, Windjammers meets Mario Tennis meets like NBA Jam. It has like, a lot of these familiar sort of like arcade tenets from these old games that we just love. And we wanted to sort of modernize these fast-paced, Twitch-style, skill, arcade, quick games for like modern online play. We wanted to play the same at 150 milliseconds and below ping. It should play identically. So that's kind of our mentality.
Yeah, exactly right.
So you're talking about skill-based games, no luck involved. What kind of skill are we looking at? Like how fast do you need to play this game?
So there's no randomness in this game. We want this game to be really
no dice
competitive.
roll.
So it's interesting. So we've sort of tried to tune it so that all skill levels, the game sort of adapts to it. So for example, there's this new mechanic that we just added called Juiced, where if you throw 3 perfect throws, which is the perfect timing throws in a row, then you get juiced up, you're throwing faster. It also makes, so every time you throw back and forth and possession changes, the overall top speed of the disc increases. And when you're throwing these perfect and juice throws, that increases even faster. And so when you've got 2 guys that are really high skill players, they're getting it up to speed really quickly, and it's just sort of back, forth. Whereas like if you're less good or just starting out, the whole game's gonna ramp up more slowly.
And we're looking at 2 versus 2, 1 versus 1. What are we looking at exactly?
So yeah, we have singles and doubles. They play on identical sized courts, identical mechanics, except for doubles has passing. So as Jay was just saying, the perfect timing is a big part of the game. You want to be in your spot. Cerebral moving players around the court is a big part of like where we're sort of like shaping how you make decisions on the field. And what ends up happening is that in doubles, if you're chasing a disc down and you're a little bit at a time, you just pop it to your teammate and then he has another chance to do a perfect throw back. So you kind of keep your streaks alive, and those sort of like balance between a strong player and a fast player and a slow player, and et cetera, start.
Yeah, the pass is relatively new in our game, and I think it's been really interesting to see what people that have been playing here have been doing it, and the way that you sort of divide up the team responsibility. Do you have a guy at the net and then a guy behind, and do you have the guy behind, for example, normally if you slide in the game you have a little bit of a penalty because it takes some time, so you can't do a perfect throw. Okay. But in doubles, you have the guy in the back sliding and can pop it to your teammate to then execute a perfect throw at the net.
There's a lot going on in this game then. You guys got a lot of mechanics.
For a 4-button game, it's like a really low entry point, but you start finding out once you get in there, like skill players start kind of like pulling away a little bit.
Right.
And our big thing is that here we are at EVO with some of the best like players in the world. We wanted to make sure that at its top tier, Disc Jam has a place for guys who will always be better than Jay and I to sort of elevate and be like, we wanted to introduce mechanics that were not going to alienate new players, but also make a place for really competitive gamers to feel like, I'm the better player, I will win. That's sort of like our design objectives.
Yeah. What do you think the fighting game and community, like in particular, will take to this game?
A big reason we were glad to be here is so much because of a lot of these guys come from like arcade-centric passions, and the sort of love that we have for accessible yet deep arcade-style games. You don't see many of those in the modern sort of marketplace, and that's what people have been gravitating to a lot. We've had a lot of like, pro gamers come by and just immediately gravitate to the fact they recognized it from Windjammers and other things that they've seen, and understand that it's like an analog, not 8-way version of it, and they sort of like fit into the vibe, but realize how modernized the sort of take on it is.
Yeah, and I think
the interpretation of it.
What's interesting about players here is, they pick it up and they pick it up right away because it's a pretty accessible game, but then they start seeing what other people are doing and they pick up on that so quickly, and they're always taking new angles to it of like, oh, what's that guy got going on? I like that. How do I do that?
I'm gonna stuff the net now with my shield the entire time. The mechanics that like we don't even have in our wheelhouse that they like pick up right away on. So
yeah, absolutely.
And then as far as like single player stuff, are you guys doing anything single player wise?
We will have an offline mode. We will have, like Rocket League sort of, I think, in my mind, Rocket League kind of nailed it where it's like, we have offline tournaments, we have the ability to sort of like play through an offline mode against AI, but it's clearly a multiplayer game.
Right.
Before Rocket League, there wasn't many multiplayer only games in the sort of independent studio, price range that were successful. And our philosophy is that there's a lot of people like us, and they're all here, that like MP, competitive. That's where I want to play. That's where I want to spend my time.
Right.
So we definitely will have offline modes. We want people like, as far as like going like full Madden League, we'll probably never do that.
Right.
But like having a sort of like Mortal Kombat style, like chip away at like a ladder, just to like unlock the characters.
Yeah.
There's gonna be something like that present.
And I
There'll be a
think
tutorial
practice mode, practice mode with like bots where you can maybe program them to like, hey, just keep lobbing to me. I want to practice my lob returns or whatever that is. Yeah.
And you guys talk about characters. There's a lot of customization for the characters. There's a lot of different characters going on. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So right now we're showing 2 characters. There's more coming on online. It's still pretty early for us. You know, the key thing is because the game itself is so simple at its core, what we really like is that we can put a lot of personality and a lot of depth into the characters themselves. So each of the characters is going to play pretty differently. What we're starting here is like fairly vanilla with what you might expect with, you know, one is slower and sort of is less
bulky
technical throws and faster throws, and then you have the opposite, right? So. But I think as we go deeper into the character roster, you'll see sort of what we're going towards in terms of like.
Our next 2 characters a little bit more outside the box, play styles. All the like kind of power throws and selectable attributes are a pool that anyone can choose from, any character.
That's cool. I like
the characters themselves are the archetypal play styles. So as we release new characters, it's not going to be a sort of, you know, it's like it's going to be like, okay, this is how his style plays. You can tell by how they look, they play like that. That's kind of how we want to bring on right now. Our next 2 characters are pretty like one-note reads, comic book styles.
You guys are available on Steam right now, right?
Absolutely. We have an online pre-alpha going on right now. DiscJamGame.com is our open pre-alpha. Come play. We're all just like, our community has gotten bigger with every playtest. People are all having like our concurrent players grow with every playtest. We're just excited to sort of show people what we're working on and take feedback. We have a really active community. It's like, hey, you know what might be cool with this? And like, a lot of that new stuff that's come online in the last 2 weeks is based on those conversations.
So we test every Thursday now, and you guys jump in. We try to stream on Twitch every Thursday so that people can jump in and ask us questions. Where can we watch that at? So twitch.tv/DiscJamGame.
And you guys are consoles?
Right, so at E3 2 weeks ago, Sony just announced that we're coming to PlayStation. We're extremely excited about that. PC and PlayStation to start, and then, you know, obviously it's a 2-man studio, multiple consoles, not, you know, bandwidth, it's a bandwidth resource thing, so we plan on coming to as many consoles as we can get to, but for now, we're launching with PlayStation PS4, and beyond that, you know, the door's going to open to see where we end up.
Is it a release window?
This winter. You know, we don't have a targeted, you know, month or date set. We're in the process of nailing that down right now with our sort of our first-party partners, and you know, again, we're just trying to like dial in what makes the most sense in terms of an independent game coming out without a multi-million-dollar marketing budget. You know, it's like being self-published. It's important that we sort of are cognizant of the fact that $20 million marketing campaigns get going in the fall. We're working on that right now.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out this jam. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.